Nice, dude.
He goes, how?
There's some guns and stuff in here, man.
I hate this CARV.
But... Top of us.
Murdered?
In the world?
That was a full send, bro. He came flying in, dude. Yo. Oh, my God. Oh, he got
Dang.
destroyed.
He went freaking Rambo mode on us.
Welcome to the Club Fox Retrowave Lounge YouTube channel. We've just transitioned into Season 4. We're here for the Meta Report Episode 2. Now, many of you in the community will know, hanging out on Twitch, YouTube, you're going to get a lot of people drop into the big streamers' chats and ask, what's the meta? What's the new thing to go to? What's the best weapon to use? A lot of people are just looking for that information. You know, you could be like me or a lot of other players and just go experiment, use something. If you get pooped on with it, maybe don't use it or get better with it. Or try something else and maybe be a little bit better. But for everyone that wants to know, here is the Warzone meta report at the beginning of Season 4. Now, taking a look at the meta right now, you can actually see we've got a fairly diverse meta going on right now, which is kind of cool. You'll notice right here, there's a little dip. It's actually lower than it has been in a long time. Again, like we explained in Episode 1, you can see the card in the top right-hand corner there. You can go check out Episode 1 of the Meta Report during Season 3. It was a lot less diverse then, but as we explained, the higher this graph gets to the top, the less diverse the game meta is. The lower it gets to the bottom, the more diverse the meta is. So this is actually in a really, really good spot, but we just had a brand new season launch. We've got a lot of new data coming into the system on WarzoneRank.com, and there's a lot of weapons being used, a lot of people experimenting. So there's some pretty cool trends that we're actually noticing right now. Now, there are some big changes that we expected to see, but maybe not quite as big early on. So, before we jump in, I want to shout out the Warzone Meta Report. We've got Episode 1. Again, you can click that card a few minutes back. This is Episode 2. Episode 3 will be coming real soon. What we're going to do is we're going to go about midway Season 4. About 25, 30 days left in Season 4, and we'll see where the meta is sitting after it's had time to settle in. Definitely make sure to hit that like button if you enjoy the meta report, and you can get a lot of other cool content as well from multiplayer, from Warzone, and also hit that subscribe button if you want to find your way back to the Retrowave Lounge. We'd definitely love to have you come back and hang out, become part of the crew. Let's get right into it. What we're taking a look at here, there's some big movers. You guys remember from the first meta report, Car 98 was at like a 13% pick rate. Now, I wish that WarzoneRank.com would have a feature where it would show how big the motion was, up or down. But you're noticing a lot of these big top 10s, they're still in the top 10, but we got a lot of red arrows here, which is really cool. So, Car 98 down to a 9.3%. It's still king. I think a lot of people are doing that overkill class, and they're just using the Car 98. Me, personally, there's a couple other sniper rifles I prefer. We'll jump into that a little bit later, so hang tight. MG82. Look at this. The brand new MG82. Are we in for Bruin Meta 2.0? Who knows? 7.3% pick ratio. A ton of people are picking this. Now, there's a couple reasons why this may be. Number one, I've already tried out the MG82 myself. It's a really nice weapon. I'll actually show you some footage from where we were just running around in Zombies Outbreak with it, having some fun. But really, really nice feeling weapon. A little bit slow, super slow reload unless you get the right attachments on it. But a lot of people are experimenting with it, and why not? So MG82 is at a 7.83 pick ratio. And I expect that to maybe settle in a little bit, but who knows? Remember the Bruin days? Could be in for that one again. Now, taking a look again at this screen, 6.3% your AMAX going down, MAC 10 going down. A big riser here, the Farah 83. You're going to see a lot more Farah 83s out there in the wilds of Verdansk, so be on the lookout for that. A lot of people are using it sans sight. I see a lot of people running with just the iron sights. I think there's a setup there that they don't want to have that slot taken up by a sight. Me personally, I like that accuracy and a little bit easier target acquisition at range with the Farah, so I'll be using a sight on that for mine. Creek 6 has gone up as well. I think it's moving up because a lot fewer people are using the AMAX. They're actually tuning into the Krig and the Farah. They shoot a little bit straighter, less damage, I think, overall, but a lot easier to control and a lot easier to hit shots on. Kilo 141, losing some ground here. Why would you use the Kilo when the Krig shoots just as straight and hits more at range and is actually fairly usable up close as well compared to the Kilo? So Kilo is going to start falling from grace here soon. XM4 seeing a bit of a spike. Now this is a sleeper. I've been using the XM4 in Warzone off and on quite frequently, actually. I like that weapon. weapon, you just don't see a lot of people using it, and I was always confused by that. I always wondered, the XM4, really good weapon. It handles well. It's so versatile, just like its Modern Warfare M4A1 counterpart. Why aren't people using it? Not totally sure, but it is cool to see on the Warzone meta report that it actually is climbing in pick ratio and popularity. We've also got the Ram 7 and the Grau 5.56 rounding out the top 10, and there's a few other miscellaneous weapons you can see here at the bottom that you probably recognize. LC10, Bullfrog, Milano was apparently got a buff, so a lot of people are picking that. The pick ratio is up on that, but mostly because people are just trying to experiment with it. I'm pretty sure this is going to settle back into a pretty flat rate. But the Ram 7 losing in popularity because, again, XM4 handles a little bit like Ram 7, hits a little bit like Ram 7, and Cold War guns are sort of becoming the meta at this point, which I think is what Activision wanted. We're seeing a little bit of that shift. So some pretty cool trends that we're seeing here. Let's take a look at our KD ratio. So here is chapter 2. Now, KD ratio is a little bit skewed. It depends on, are people picking it up just from ground loot? Are they using it in their loadout? Are a lot of players that maybe aren't as skilled as the big players trying to use these weapons but not being as successful with them? I mean, there's players that I can name off the top of my head that could pick up anything and be half decent with it. So that's something you have to consider when you're looking at that. However, when we look at the KD ratio, the MG82, throw that completely out of the room, as well as the nail gun, that 1.18 and that 1.30. Those are definitely inflated because a bunch of people are using those right now and getting fresh kills with them. There's a ton of people running the weapon, so you're going to get inflated numbers early on. You got to wait for that KD to sort of settle in. It's just like when you start a brand new Call of Duty game, right? And you have a few good matches to start off in November, or maybe you get it for Christmas and you just destroy all the Christmas noobs because you're just better than Christmas noobs, even though you just got the game as well. And then you see that sort of that downward trend where you sort of settle in a little bit on your KD as you get into the game. Same thing here. One thing is really cool to notice, the MP5 from Cold War is getting a lot of traction. It's actually sitting at a 1.17, only a 2.9% pick ratio, so not a lot of people are using it. A lot of your big boy slayers are using it right now. So that 1.17, you don't have to take that with as much of a grain of salt. Also, the Shadow Hunter, like we mentioned in the last video, that's a 1.17, but you got a 0.0% pick ratio. So the few times that people are using it, they're getting kills with it, but no one is using that weapon. The C58 only has a 0.5% pick ratio because not a lot of people probably have level 30 of the Battle Pass yet, but really good weapon. There are some clips on Twitter I've been seeing float around from some big name streamers in the Call of Duty community that work for the CDL as casters. And the clips that these guys are posting of the C58 in action is absolutely ridiculous. Less of a kill-death ratio than maybe I expected, but still above 1, especially above 1.1. That's a really good kill-death ratio. AMAX still 1.12 because when you're killing with it, you're absolutely frying with it. AK-47 from Cold War is gaining some traction. It's still over a 1.05 kill-death ratio. Very strong weapon, but it's losing a lot of its pick ratio, right? Because you got other weapons that people are using. The C58, the Farah, the Krig, the XM4. So that'll wrap up the KD ratio portion of the meta report. So we've got some cool trends that we're checking out, we're keeping an eye on. I'm excited about what the future brings. It seems like it's going to be a fairly diverse meta. Hopefully the graph that we showed at the very beginning will actually stay true. We're going to probably see that number spike up a little bit, but you never know. Maybe it stays a little bit more diverse. Maybe Raven is finding a way to make more weapons viable, so you're going to see those AK-47s alongside the teams with the AMAXs. Maybe you'll see a Rose Skin squad, a full 4-man running 4 different ARs and still being able to be competitive. Or maybe you can see you're just casual Joes running trios or Resurgence or Rebirth Island or whatever it is, and you've got guys using the Milano and the MP5 and maybe the Cold War MP5 alongside the Modern Warfare MP5. You never know. My guess is that we are in for a Bruin 2.0 meta with the MG82. That weapon is absolutely nasty. You have to grind it up more than almost any other weapon in the game to get the good attachments on it, especially those aim down sight attachments and the reload attachments. You've got to get a fast mag on that weapon. I actually counted just sort of unscientifically when I was playing a zombies map on Outbreak last night, and it took 8 seconds, just counting off my head. Again, non-scientifically, didn't have a stopwatch, anything like that, but it absolutely takes forever to reload. I could literally go make a sandwich, I could go file my taxes, take a shower, drive the dog around the parking lot a little bit to give her some fresh air and sunshine, let her hang her head out the window, come back, and it would just be finished reloading. So make sure you get those fast mags on there. There's a couple cool options. I'm actually going to show you a couple options here on screen right now to probably attach to that weapon, make it a little bit better. Plus the iron sights. You're definitely going to have to take a slot to use a sight on this weapon. It is not a very good setup for the iron sights. They're so obstructive. They cover so much of the screen. You're going to need a sight on that. So whatever you prefer, whether you want to use a more extended range sight, or if you want to use like a mill stop, like a reflex sight, something like that's a little more close range, but gives you a better, clearer sight picture overall. It's totally up to you what you want to do, but those iron sights, unless you like them, and hit the like button if you do, comment down below why you like the iron sights. If you like them, that's fine. Don't use that slot. But unlike a lot of other weapons like your assault rifles and submachine guns, you're going to need a sight for this one, at least me personally. That'll do it for the Warzone Meta Report. Also, last thing, make sure you visit clubfoxmerch.com. You can get a lot of cool merch on there, plus new merch releasing soon. Go ahead and order something. Rep the Club Fox Retrowave Lounge. Guys, I appreciate it. Tune in at the midway point of Season 4, Episode 3, coming very, very soon. Thank you for tuning in to Episode 2. Salute from the Captain. That's your boy, the Desert Fox. We'll see you guys on the next one.